Well, hello and welcome to Jamie TV. Thank you very much for joining me. Thank you for being here. Let's just have a look. Well, hello and welcome to Jamie TV. Thank you very much for joining me. Thank you for being here. Let's just... Why have we got this immense delay on what I'm saying? Thank you very much for joining me. Thank you for being here. Let's just... Why have we got this? Let's just see if we can figure out what's going on here. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being here. Let's just... Why have we got this? Let's just see if we can figure out what's going on. What is that? Can you guys all hear that? Why have we got this? Let's just see if we can... I may just have an idea what that is. Can you guys all... There we are. I had YouTube open in my browser on the desktop, and and it automatically started my video when I started the stream. So yeah, so apologies for that. Were you guys all hearing that echo? Because I was hearing that echo, and you know, when I was playing the guitar, I thought, I don't remember putting a delay on that. As soon as I started speaking, I figured it out. All right, so thank you for joining me. Nice to see some people in the chat. Hello, Audible. Hello, Joe. Paul, thanks for joining me. Joe, the moderator's here, right? So behave, be good, or you will be in trouble. Now, Audible asked a question already, I believe. My eyes are not good. Let me just zoom in a bit. I hope you discuss how this might be different than other reverbs and in what situations you would use this. You've heard demos and it sounds lovely. Yes. Okay, I am definitely going to discuss that. Okay, right, so hey Doug, thanks for being here. Really enjoyed your demo on this app. Thank you very much for that. It's nice when Doug does a demo before me, because I get to check it out and make sure I've not missed anything important. Because he's kind of the guru of all these things that we all look up to. Let me just change my view here. I'm going to press this button here and make sure this camera's not gone to sleep, as it tends to do sometimes. It seems to be okay. All right. Now, I'm just going to move over here and I'm just going to change a couple of things up. I'm going to talk about this setup later. I'm just going to mute that channel there, and here I was playing through a guitar amp there. I'm going to lose the guitar amp altogether, and I'm going to open up this instance of Magic Verb here. So what you're going to be hearing while I'm playing is just purely clean guitar into the reverb. In fact, before I do that, let me just take the reverb out. I'll just play the clean guitar so you get to just hear the difference. Alright, stick the reverb back in. Okay, so before I get started here, I just want to say a couple of things about this app. Right now, first of all, I am going to definitely upset some people, but I make no apology for it, right? This app, when it came out, I saw loads of posts on Facebook about it with plenty of comments, and on some of the demos I've watched on YouTube of this, comments remarking about how expensive it is. And this concerns me greatly, because for the quality of this app, it is as cheap as chips. I look at it like this, right? There's the way that the Apple ecosystem works. Developers have kind of been made to feel that they need to bring out apps at incredibly cheap prices. And as a consumer, for us, that's good. We've got thousands and thousands of apps, music apps on our iPads and iPhones that are awesome. But these developers are not really earning very much money at all. And in fact, a lot of those developers that are the big developers, the really, really good ones that we all love, they have other jobs. They don't make enough money to do it full time. So, if we want this iPad music thing to grow and really become a viable thing, if we want to be able to use iPads to record music instead of having a desktop, instead of having a Mac, then we need these developers to be making some money. So we need to be prepared to spend some decent money on decent apps. And maybe as time goes on, what we need to be doing is maybe buying less apps and just buy the really good quality ones. Because if you look how much this costs on desktop, it's 80 quid. That's 80 British pounds. And you know what? It is well worth that money. It's absolutely stellar. So if you want to make professional sounding recordings, you need an awesome reverb. You need a professional sounding reverb. And if you're going to buy a professional sounding piece of software, you're going to pay for it. £80 for the desktop version for the quality of this is a steal. So £22 I think it costs in the App Store for in the UK. For this, it's nothing. So I think gradually as we go along, a change of attitude needs to happen. If that upsets anyone, I'm not sorry. So my thoughts on this app, as you've probably already gathered, I think it's wonderful. And I'm going to talk more about that as I go along, obviously. But the main point I want to make about it is, on iOS, in some areas we are blessed with wonderful apps. Some areas are less well covered, like real drums, for instance. There's not so many apps that do that well. And, if you're a bass guitar player, there's really only a couple of things of great quality for you. But synths, we have tons of great ones. And when it comes to reverbs, we have quite a pile of stellar sounding reverbs. So why would you look at this one as well? Well, I'm going to say the reason is because this reverb is a normal reverb, right? We've got plenty of reverbs that shimmer, that have massive long tails, that modulate and do all kinds of incredible creative things, like the Bliss reverbs. Great for electronic stuff, experimental stuff, trying to come up with something a bit mad. Amazing stuff. The Eventide reverb suite, wonderful stuff. But when it comes to like a pro quality, ordinary sounding reverb, a reverb that you would use on a pop track or, an acoustic and vocal track, maybe not quite so well catered for, but this is that very app. So, first of all, it looks beautiful. Let's have it on screen, shall we, Jamie? It looks beautiful, and it sounds wonderful, and it's incredibly simple to use. So, let's hear a few sounds It doesn't have, by the way, it doesn't have presets as such. What it has is spaces instead. I'll go through the controls one by one and you'll see what I mean. So first of all, over here, should I put my iPad mouse on so I can point at things with that? Let's do this. Okay, right, so over here we have an input gain. And if I just play, you'll see it lights up green. Now, this is very much like a kind of a traffic light kind of a system. So if you're in the green, you're good to go. Everything's magic. Now, if I turn up that gain a little, you'll probably see it touching into the amber. Now, it's not distorting, it's not overdriving, but if I push it much further, it will do. So this is great. It gives you a way of setting the amount of level that you are putting into that reverb. So you're not going to sort of overdrive the front end of it, but also make sure that you are putting a decent amount of signal into it. There's nothing worse than putting a weak amount of signal into an effect. You're going to get a pissy pants result, and nobody wants to be a pissy pants, right? So now if it goes into the red, it means stop. You're doing something wrong, right? Stop and sort it out. The amber is more kind of a warning, you know, like a little bit like when you're coming up to the traffic lights and last minute it goes amber and it's like, use your common sense. It's like a warning. If it's our last driving, of course, it's more of a challenge. But hey, Meerkat Music, thank you for being here. Sam's joined us as well. Thanks for being here, Sam. And Ed. Hi, Ed. Thanks for being here, man. All right, so if I double tap on any of these sliders, it goes back to 0. And I've found that it just so happens that with this particular guitar, it's not a high output guitar. It's like it's a copy of a Strat made by Vintage, a one-off, painted gold. It's very marvelous. It's a prototype. It's got just about the right level as it is set at 0. Let's go to that pickup there. Right, okay, so moving on, looking around the controls, I'll use this like a professional. Right, now, look at this, check this out. I love this. I could just sit and play with this all day. We have here a control for the length of the reverb tail. As I take it down, the rainbow disappears. And full tail length, we get a full rainbow. And it's gorgeous. The graphics on this, to me, they do look very, very Monty Python. Very Terry Gilliam. Right, so let's just have a really short tail and just show you that. And then let's go for a super long tail, just so I can show you the extent of the tail, kind of tail length you can expect. Okay, now that does vary slightly between the different spaces. I'll come to that in a moment. Take it down to maybe here, let's just see. Okay, right, now over here we have pre-delay. Use the mouse. So pre-delay will give us a little gap before the reverb kicks in. Now I know most of you in the chat probably already all know all this stuff, but there may be somebody watching or watching later that doesn't know all this stuff, right? So I'm going to say it. Now, if I turn up the pre-delay you will hear that there's a little space before that reverb starts to happen. So if I turn it up more, I'm just gonna exaggerate it to make that very clear. And graphically what happens is, the more I turn up the pre-delay, the further this hand moves away from the eye. Now I'll turn it all the way up, and you'll hear what you actually get is kind of, in effect, a delay. Of course, that echo is just the affected signal. And of course you're hearing the guitar completely clean. Right, so that's nice. That's really, really cool. And then up here we have the wet and dry mix. So if I turn it all the way around to dry, you will see that the sun comes out, right? And when I turn it all the way up, the sun's gone to bed and the clouds come out. How awesome is that? That's really nice. I'm just gonna this is what it sounds like when it's completely wet. And you would use it this way if you were using it in Ascend, and I will talk about that a little bit more later. There is one thing that I feel this reverb is lacking, and I'm going to talk about how I would get around that. So bring it back to here, sort of 50% wet and dry, I guess. Yeah, I think that's about right for a demo. And now, one thing that's really important to say, there are no presets, as I mentioned before. And what happens with this reverb is, as I switch through the spaces here, now the spaces are emulations of real spaces, real classic studio spaces actually, and classic reverb sounds. As I switch through those spaces, the settings here remain the same. So as I switch between them, the pre-delay and the tail length of the reverb, the mix, etc., all remain exactly the same, because these are just spaces, they're not presets. And I think you'll see as we go along why this app really just doesn't need presets. It's so simple to use. Even a stupid old hippie can get a great sound out of it. No problem at all. Right, so I think the next thing for me to do is to just play some guitar, and I'm just going to move through the spaces in this list here and just let you hear everything that's on offer. Just going to take up the tail length a little bit. I'm just going to have it set a little bit more extreme than I would maybe use this effect in an actual track, just so that you can hear the quality of that reverb. I wouldn't say it's especially heavy on DSP. No, not for a reverb, yeah, cat. There is quite a bit of other stuff loaded here, which we will get to in a bit, as long as this stupid old hippie remembers, right? So let's just open that back up. I mean, a good reverb is usually pretty heavy on DSP, and you have to remember that my iPad is an old steam powered one, and hopefully next week I'll be replacing it. Well, I'll be keeping it actually, but hopefully I'll be getting a new one, right? So let's just move through those spaces and play a bit of guitar. So this is beautiful smooth chamber. This is what I've had it set on since the beginning. And this is thick, smooth chamber. Yeah, no, that's right, mate. That's right. I just thought I'd show you. And classic chamber. This sound, it seems to be particularly popular with the people who've already purchased this. And here is old mid-range chamber. Bright sun chamber. That would have been nice if I'd gone to a D minor. I'm going to do that again on Main Studio Room. Now this is a very, very usable sound for kind of like, you know, just your more regular everyday kind of recordings. There's the D minor. Reflective room. Right now. Oh, hi, Michael. Thanks for joining us, man. So here is a small, dry room. Just change my pickup position a little. And deep, lush plate, the penultimate space. Just going to take that to a different pickup. I'm never really a huge fan of plate reverbs on guitar. It's just a personal thing for me. It's never really worked that well for me. I think because plates to me seem to be quite present mids, which of course the guitar already has. So, hey fam. The layout of this app does remind me somewhere about your creativity. Oh, Daniel's here. Hi, Daniel. Right. Yeah, that's probably not for me, that one. This one, however, I absolutely love. Well, let's just, I want to turn up the tail. We've had a crash. Well, as pointed out, we were just pushing the DSP a little there. Right, let's just put that back on there. Turn up this tail like I wanted. Okay, so this is Digital Buddha, and I really like it. That modulation, by the way, that's me wobbling the strings. It's not a modulating reverb. All right, now, so that's, I mean, the thing is that the controls are so simple. There's really not much you could get wrong. Now, let me just tell you about one thing I think that this app is missing, but what I've done about it. So I'll just come out of here. Now, as you see, right, use the mouse, right? So here, this is my guitar coming in. That's Tone Stack Pro that I just was using for the tuner. I just needed something that I could check my tuning with. That's the only reason that's there. Here's an amp that I may switch in later, but I wanted you to hear what the reverb sounded like with just the guitar going into the reverb, and that's it. Now, what I thought I would do is I would show you this app set up as a send effect. So what I'm doing is I'm sending to bus A from here. So we'll take that reverb out of that chain. And so we've got a reverb here on this chain, which, right, so this is my send chain, right? So, which also crashed, so yeah, I need to reset it, but no worries there. So we'll unmute that. So now I should have some reverb coming down this channel here. So the way that we would set this, because not everybody knows this, and it's something that, well, it's just a really useful thing to know. So if you set up an effect on a send, you want it to be fully wet, because whereas when you've got an effect on a channel, like here, I've got my guitar coming in and I had this reverb here, and so I used the wet and dry to balance the mix between the instrument and the effect I'm adding to it. But when we send to an effect, when we use an effect send like this, right, this is the wet, and that channel, that's providing the dry. So this one wants to be fully wet. It can kind of make your mix sound a little weird if you've got some dry coming down here as well. So we turn this wet all the way up and the sun goes away, and then we'll select a reverb here. Let's go with this classic, and it's crashed on me again. Maybe I should get rid of this instance here. It is, of course, a very new app. May need a little bit of a tweak, or maybe I've just got too much stuff open, but it is MagicVerb that's crashing. Let's be honest about it. Right, so a slightly longer tail maybe, and a little pre-delay. Now when the pre-delay is very short, then it sort of, this reverb doesn't have a ducker, is what I'm trying to say. Let's try and say it in a different way, because I'm struggling for my words, right? So a ducker would dip the effect signal whilst I'm playing a note. But if you just use the pre-delay, it does the same thing, because there's a little delay before the reverb kicks in. Hey, Marcus Elbow, thanks for joining me, man. Thank you very much, sir. Okay, right, so now that I've got that set, then over here I can use this to decide how much effect. I should do that with the mouse, I suppose. If it will, I don't know if it will. Oh, it will. So I can use this control here to decide how much of the effect to send to the send. So let's try it about here. Okay, maybe just a little more. Obviously I wouldn't use this much reverb in a track, but we're demonstrating what the reverb sounds like, so let's have plenty of it. Okay, so now we'll open it back up here. Now let's hear some of these reverbs with a longer tail on. There's a couple in particular that I want to show you. So this main studio room, to me, is a great reverb for those regular everyday reverb users. If you want to mix a track, like if you want to get like sort of a if you were mixing, say, a rock band, right? So you've got all real instruments and you're looking for that, you want to make it sound like a real live band. You could consider using the same reverb on everything. It works really well. And if you use this reverb, this is the kind of sound you'd be looking for. Just a nice short. It just sounds like you're in a good live room. Right, let's just increase that tail a bit. A little more pre-delay. Yeah. Right, so it's not a sort of like, hey Hot, thanks for joining us, man. So it's not a kind of, it's not one of those reverbs with some fabulous, flamboyant, you know, modulating, long tail, shimmer, harmonizing thing. It's just something that you would use to make your recording sound really pro. Hot says, we're just about to buy this. Will be my first app by this developer. How's everyone liking it? Well, I like it. I like it a lot. It has, I've got to be honest, right? It has crashed a couple of times whilst I've been doing this demonstration. It never crashed before I started doing the demo, but I have got quite a few things open, I suppose, and I am screen sharing the iPad. That takes some resources. But nothing else is crashing. It is just this app that's crashing. But you know, it's new. I mean, it might just want a little bit of attention. Right. So I'll show you what other things I've got open here. I've got an instance of. I'm just gonna mute this. Okay, so I've got Noir open here. Press play. Right, and I'm sending this to my Reverb mix bus. It is. It's really good, isn't it? It does sound awesome. Right, so I'm going to go with a different sound. Now I want you to keep hearing all the different sounds available. We'll go with classic chamber. Oh yeah, and like a stupid hippie, I forgot to tell you something. Right, I've just got to stop that. I must tell you while I remember. I'll only forget again if I put it off. Right, so the one thing that is missing from this reverb, I was talking to Jakob Hack about this a while ago. A great reverb really needs to have a filter so that you can cut off the lows, right? Because one thing that's really destructive about reverbs is that you know, you get that kind of booming, swelling low end, sometimes, especially on instruments like guitar. We really don't want that. We want a filter to be able to just kind of sweep that low end off. This app does not have that. So that's kind of my one little niggle about it. So you want me to show the UI in a DAW? Well, you know what? I've just started playing with it today, and I've actually not even done that myself. But there's no reason why I can't. There's no reason why I can't. So, yeah, just give me a little moment, and I'll try and get to that. All right. So, yeah. So all I've done is I've just added this high pass filter here, and I've just swept off a bit of the low. So if I just bring that out, you should hear the difference. I'll just play a nice bottom endy chord. And bring it back in. Right, we're just not hearing that low E string boom. Take it back out. Now, I only needed to add a subtle amount, but that's how I got around it. Okay, so, right, so I've got noir here. Let's just turn that up. Right, so I'll just turn up the... Alright, mix it in with some hammerhead. Mute that a moment. That's also going... I just wanted to show, because I wanted to say that I think this is the reverb to use for, like, you know, real instruments and real band type stuff. But I also just wanted to have some, you know, synthetic electronic sounding drums and stuff, just to show you it does also sound great on that. Okay, right, now, hey GB Crow, thanks for joining us. And so in a moment I'm just going to do what is it Baptiste asked me to do, but before I do that, I just want to show you something very quickly, a quick preview of, I accidentally moved that, stupid hippie, a quick preview of, oh, and I've got to tell you about this as well. Right, I'll put it there so it's in my eyeline, right? Quick preview of this, Scaleboard 2. You've got, in Scaleboard, you've got all kinds of scales and stuff you can have on screen, right? So that you can, oh, I muted that, right? I'm using Mood Units Waverly, which is also going to the reverb. That's not muted. What's going on there then? Oh, there we are. Okay, so I can press on the on-screen scale, but also in this version you've got on-screen buttons for chords. This is going to be really, really useful and exciting. I'm really looking forward to doing a video with this app. So if I just do this, right? Which means I'll be able to do something like this. I've attached the on-screen keyboard to the chords in Scaleboard 2. Got hold on the keyboard. Alright, so that's going to be pretty awesome. Really looking forward to doing a demo on that. Alright, now, so before I do this thing for Baptiste and have a look at this interface in a DAW, I have to announce the winners of the Bliss Omega synth codes, right? I've got 4 codes to give away, and the winners are Russ 8889, Thomas Brown, Damon Griffin, and Mars Capone. If any of those 4 people are watching, then find my email address down below this video, send me a direct email so I can send you your code. I will also reply to each person's comment under that video, letting them know to contact me. So, the mono version is great. Do not buy the stereo one if you don't use stereo sources. Oh, we're talking about Moog or something. Right. Okay, nothing to do with me then. Right, let's do this for Baptiste then. I haven't done this myself yet, so let's see what happens. We'll get rid of AUM and let's go across and grab Cubasis 3. Now, what project is going to open here? I wonder. I can't remember what I last did in here. Alright, that's something secret that you're not allowed to see. So, quickly come out of there and we'll go to this one. Right, now right, so there's my clean guitar coming in. Let's set up a send and we'll go down and find Magic Verb. There we are. Magic Verb is of course made by the same people that made Magic Death Eye, which is an absolutely stellar compressor of immense quality, and also the 6144 EQ, which is incredible. It's very difficult with the 6144 to make a adjustment to the EQ that doesn't sound great. It's brilliant. Right, now, so where is my there? Okay, if I just shut that there and do this, alright, so here's what the switch the send on, you stupid hippie. Right, so here's what the interface will look like in Cubasis 3. It looks pretty awesome actually, doesn't it? And let's just see if everything seems to be working alright. Alright, so there it is in Cubasis 3. It looks great. It seems to be working absolutely fine. Just wondering if you wanted me to check it in anything else. Was there a particular DAW you wanted me to check it in? Because I'm running out of room on my iPad. I've got very limited memory left. Like I say, I should be getting a new one. I should be getting a new iPad next week. So I'm going to get obviously a much bigger memory one this time. This one's 128. And so the point is, I've had to take some of the digital audio workstations of my iPad that I don't use very often off the iPad temporarily, just so that I had room to work. So was there a particular one that you wanted me to look at? That was my question, Baptiste. Alright, so there we are. That's Magic Verb. I think it's awesome. I highly recommend it. And it seems to be flickering now. Why is it flickering? Let's try opening that again. No, it's fine. I don't know. But, you know, it is new. iPad 9. What mine? Mine is a 6th gen. Mine is it's 6th gen basic iPad, 4 years old, and it still works great. I mean, consider all things considered, I'm really happy with what I've achieved with it. But I want something with a bigger memory and preferably more powerful. I'd like to be able to do more at once, but I am a little bit concerned about what to get, really, because I think that in a way Apple have kind of, with the Pro, right, with the M1 in particular, what they've done is they've given us something with amazing capability. It's expensive, but if you could use all of that RAM in one app like Cubasis, then you'd be able to do incredible things musically, but you can't. So considering that you can't, I think I'm going to go for the newest Air. But then if I do that, then they might update the iOS so that you can do what I want to do with it, and then I'll wish I got a Pro. So I don't know. Wait until the March-April event. Yeah, but Sam, it's my birthday next week, and I'm getting some money, and I need a new iPad. So I don't know if I can. Although that sounds like very sensible advice. But anyway, thank you everyone. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being awesome. Please do take care of yourselves. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure that you gave it a thumb up and consider subscribing and dinging my bell if you haven't already. And down below the video is all the information about my music, where you can hear it, where you can buy it, where you can check out my Patreon if you're interested in that, where you can get some merch of mine at Bandcamp, and where you can go and have a look at my website and all that stuff. And feel free, by the way, anyone and everyone, to add me, follow me, love me, like me, stalk me, whatever, on social media. And if I can ever be of any help to anyone, any music questions at all, my email address is down there for a reason. Get in touch. All right? Don't be a stranger. So everyone, make lots of music and be good people, be kind, and don't piss pants about. I will see you later. Bye-bye.